Well, hey there, listeners. Welcome back to the show. So, today I need to tell you about something that happened to me last week, and it's kind of been living rent-free in my head ever since. Uh, I wouldn't be surprised if most of you had a similar kind of experience. You can let me know maybe. So anyway, I received a DM on my Indigaro Beauty Instagram account, and it was from a dude at a marketing agency in the UK. Obviously, I'm here in Australia. And here's the kicker. Several of my clients also got the same message from the same guy, the same content, same promises, same everything. Now, I knew what the game was with this message, and I could have just deleted it and moved on, which is what I would usually do. But in this particular instance, I decided that I would engage with this guy and just kind of have a little bit of fun and see how deep the rabbit hole went. And what unfolded was honestly, in my opinion, a first-class masterclass in everything that you should not do when you are trying to reach a premium brand. But here's where this gets interesting and potentially a little bit uncomfortable, maybe. Because as I was kind of dissecting why this approach really failed so spectacularly, I started to think, how many of us are accidentally doing a version of this or, aspects of this kind of approach to our own customers? How many brands are making similar mistakes in their marketing, just, in slightly different packaging? So today I want to share this entire conversation. I want to break down exactly why I believe it does not work for the kind of innovative, new, different, unique brands, which would be many of you listeners would have brands like that. And then, and I think this is the important bit, we're going to turn the mirror around and look at whether you or we might be making similar mistakes in our own businesses, in your businesses, and with your audiences. And just want to give fair warning up front. It might sting a little bit, but knowledge is power, right? And if you are trying to build something genuinely unique and valuable, then I do think that this is something important to hear. So let's dive in. And I'm going to try and have a bit of fun with this. Hopefully, you will as well. All right. As I mentioned, this starts with a DM that popped up on my Indigaro Beauty Instagram account. And this message basically just said, "Hi, I have a question. Is this the right place to ask?" Now, me being who I am and working in this industry, I'm immediately suspicious because uh, I've seen this kind of thing before. I mean, I could also see his profile image, right? I knew it was very far removed from Indigare's ideal customer avatar. Anywho, I clicked through to his profile and he's very clearly a digital marketing guy and he's based in the UK. But I'm curious where this is going, so I respond, sure, you can ask questions here. Are you interested in one of our products? And then he sends a video, not a written response. It was clearly a pre-recorded selfie video. And if I paraphrase what he said, it was cool. Hope you guys are well. Just wanted to reach out and say that I love what you guys are doing with the business. Now, if I pause right there for a second, he loves what we're doing. Mate, you haven't even asked a single question yet, let alone reference the kind of products we actually sell. You don't know what we are actually doing, but okay, let's continue. I genuinely believe I have an amazing opportunity for you guys as well, but I didn't want to pitch you without your permission. Quite frankly, I know it's pretty rude. I know a lot of people do it. Now, here's the thing. Asking permission to pitch is still a pitch. You've literally just pitched me on letting you pitch me. It's like saying, I don't want to interrupt you while you're currently interrupting someone. Um, but anyway, let's go on. This is what he continues with. But this opportunity involves us getting you more customers in a brand new way, and it's completely pay on results basis. So there's no risk on your side. If you don't profit, we don't profit. It's as simple as that. Okay, so brand new way, pay on results, no risk. In my opinion, these are red flags disguised as benefits, by the way, but we will come back to that. And then he continues in his video, if you're open to hearing what I have in mind, drop me a thumbs up in the chat and I'll send you over a quick 1-minute video. So I'm feeling, a little bit intrigued at this point. How far can I push this guy? And so I respond, avoiding any emojis, by the way. Uh, my response was, so your question is, can you pitch me an opportunity to get me more customers? And he responds, exactly, smiley face. Drop me a thumbs up if you're open to hearing what I have in mind. And so I write back, sure, go for it. So now he sends me another pre-recorded video, and this is where it gets really interesting. He introduces himself, finally, Tom Barnes, founder of something called the Social Elevator. He says they can increase my monthly revenue by 20 to 50K per month on top of my current revenue, complete pay on results basis. Then he cuts to some screenshots, anonymous, showing a brand that went from something like £15,000 per month to over £330,000 per month, which, impressive sales numbers. And it showed a really big hockey stick graph, super compelling if you don't think too hard about it. But here's what he doesn't tell me. What do they actually do? How did they achieve those results? What service are they actually providing? Is it paid advertising, conversion rate optimization, email marketing? Are they literally just pumping money into the business themselves and taking a cut? Absolutely no idea. Complete mystery. Secret sauce, remember? The video ends with him saying to send him another thumbs up to book a demo call. And now this is where I decided to actually push back because everything about this is just so generic. In fact, at the end of it, doesn't just say give him a thumbs up. It says reply to whoever sent this to you and give him a thumbs up. So, definitely pre-recorded and generic. It was not for me specifically. Anyway, everything about it, just clearly a mass outreach campaign. So I decided to write back from that video, which was obviously not shot just for our brand. It's not clear that you've either looked at our marketing or assessed whether we might be lacking anywhere or how your skills would be beneficial. There's nothing in your video about your secret sauce or how it would apply to us specifically. Approaching a brand completely cold from the other side of the world who's never heard of you before with this kind of message makes a whole lot of assumptions about where we are at, how satisfied or unsatisfied we are with our growth rate, and that simply some anonymous stats and a promise of results or you don't pay is a pretty big reach. You're going to need to do a whole lot more than this to pique my interest. And then radio silence from me, but not from Tom. A couple of days later, I hear from him. Just checking if you saw my last message. I understand you must be very busy as well. Clearly, he didn't see my last message because I didn't give him the thumbs up. His automated DM bot didn't get the trigger it needed, right? Then, next day, he sends me the disaster girl meme. I'm sure you know the one. It's the little girl smiling at the camera with a house on fire behind her with the text, my follow-ups being left on red at the top and you written at the bottom. And then the next day, he sent me another meme, skeleton sitting at the computer, never give up no matter how long it takes, with a laugh out loud emoji. And then that was it. That's where the conversation has finally ended. Whew, where to begin? So let's break down why I believe this approach fundamentally doesn't work for premium or innovative or unique brands, the ones that are trying to do things different and better to others on the market. And when I mean doesn't fundamentally doesn't work, I mean it genuinely does not work. It's not just, it's annoying. And first, Tom never asked me a single question about Indigare, not one. He clearly had not even personally been involved in this conversation for starters, but, definitely hadn't looked at our marketing, didn't assess our customer base, didn't understand our brand positioning, didn't know if we were profitable, struggling, scaling, launching something new, dealing with supply chain issues, nothing. He showed up with a solution looking for a problem rather than actually diagnosing whether we had the problem he solves. Now, have a think about this from a customer perspective. When you're building a brand, you're attracting customers who are discerning. They're not impulse buyers. And when I say building a brand, I'm talking about building something, a little bit premium, unique, not your, bargain basement discount or mass item, right? These kinds of buyers are not impulse buyers. They want to understand what they're buying and why it's right for them specifically. And if your marketing doesn't demonstrate that you do understand their specific situation. You're just noise. You're Tom. You're everyone else shouting, I can help you, without bothering to understand what help actually looks like. And second, the service that dare not speak its name. I mean, I think this one's pretty huge. Tom never once told me what he actually does. Not once. Is he running Meta ads, Google ads, managing influencer partnerships, optimizing conversion rates, building email flows, creating content, running affiliate programs, literally just putting his own money into purchases and taking a cut? Absolutely no idea. He showed me graphs going up and up and up to the right. He mentioned proven and reliable marketing funnels, which could literally mean anything. And of course, he talked about his secret sauce, which apparently is so secret, he can't even tell me what category of marketing it falls into. I mean, just think at how bizarre this is. Imagine going to a doctor who says, I can cure what's wrong with you, and here are the results I got for other patients, but won't tell you whether they're prescribed medication, performing surgery, or recommending lifestyle changes. I mean, if that was the case, you would just run a mile. But in marketing, we're supposed to just trust the numbers and not ask what's actually happening behind the curtain. Now, why would someone be this vague? I think there's a few possibilities. One being that the service isn't actually impressive when you name it, like we run Facebook ads. Kind of doesn't sound like secret sauce when, so you dress it up with a bit of mystery and urgency. Two, maybe they want to get you on a call before revealing what they do, because once you might realize you're already doing it, or you could do it yourself, or it's not what you need. Or three, they genuinely don't know how to articulate their value beyond we get results, which kind of tells you they probably don't have a sophisticated understanding of their own process. And I don't think any of these things are good. I don't think premium brands operate in mystery. We're transparent about our ingredients, our processes, our values. We expect the same from our partners, or at least I do. And if you can't clearly articulate what you do and how you do it, I don't trust that you know what you're doing. And this connects to those impressive graphs he showed me. 15K to 330K pounds per month sounds incredible, right? But how? If he scaled them through paid ads, what was the customer acquisition cost? What was the return on ad spend? How much of that was actually profit after his fees and ad spend? Was it new customer acquisition, or did they just suddenly start driving retention marketing? If he did it through influencer partnerships, how sustainable is that? And are those customers coming back? If you optimize the website for conversion rate, okay, great, but that only works if you've already got traffic. Is that my bottleneck? If he built out their email marketing, I mean, that's brilliant, but again, that requires an existing database to market to, especially to get those big numbers. I mean, the mechanism matters, the how matters, because the how tells me whether this is relevant to my business or my situation or with my constraints. Tom showed me an outcome and expected me personally, to expend some brain calories and work backwards to assume he could replicate that for me. And that's not how I think sophisticated business owners make decisions. We want to understand the strategy. We want to understand the tactics, the inputs required from us, the timeline, the risks. Just the whole, trust me, I got someone else these results is not a business case. It's a magic trick. Third, the complete lack of personalization. Brands aren't built on cookie cutter approaches, certainly not brands that are differentiated from their competition, right? When you are running a unique, innovative business, you need partners who understand what makes you different. And look, I get why agencies choose not to do that, because it takes a whole lot more time and you have to put a whole lot more effort and creativity into coming up with unique solutions, right? I mean, Tom's pitch could have been sent to a supplements company, a fashion brand, a freight business, could have been sent to a funeral parlor. I mean, if your pitch works for everyone, it works for no one. And this is actually a huge issue that I see with a lot of marketing to e-commerce brands. Everyone's using the same playbook, the same scale to X figures language, the same testimonials that could be from anyone, the same promise that their system works for all product categories, but zero visibility about how. But here's the reality. I mean, a skincare brand selling $120 serums to women in their 40s needs completely different strategies than a tech accessories brand selling $25 phone cases to men in their 20s. The customer psychology is completely different. The buying journey is different. The messaging has to be different. The channels might even be different. If you're marketing something that is new, different, and better to your competition, your customers are going to be choosing you specifically because you are not like everyone else. So why would they respond to marketing that treats them like everyone else? Fourth, assuming the sale. I mean, this whole approach assumed that first of all, that I was dissatisfied with our current growth and desperately needed help. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not, but he never bothered to find out. I think, and second, you get results or you don't pay. First of all, he's assuming that that's a no risk, no reward method, but it's not. Like, I'm still having to take a massive leap of trust to invest time, but also to risk my brand and my customers and my ad spend and all of that with somebody who hasn't given me no transparency or visibility at all. So that is a big risk. Brands are run by people who are architects of their own success. We don't respond well to assumptions. At least I don't. We respond to insight. And there's this underlying desperation, I think, in Tom's approach. The follow-up messages, the memes about being left on red, it all screams, I need you to say yes. I don't think different, innovative, unique brands are bought. Then they are bought, rather, they're not sold, So our customers don't want to be chased. They don't want to feel sold to, they want to feel understood, respected, and given the space to make the respect to make their own informed decisions. And let's just talk about that meme disaster as well. Oh my goodness. When you don't get the response that you want, making jokes about being ignored isn't charming. It's kind of desperate, and it completely undermines any authority that you were trying to establish. I mean, imagine if one of your customers inquired about your product and you sent them some information, and then when they didn't immediately buy, you sent them a meme about how they're ignoring you. I mean, is that going to make them more likely to purchase? Of course not. It would make them uncomfortable and probably block you. Yet somehow in B2B marketing, people think it's acceptable. Well, I don't think it is. So let's have a look at this uncomfortable mirror, because it's easy to laugh at Tom's approach. It's easy to feel a little bit superior about how we would never do something so obviously generic and desperate. But, I want to just ask you, are you sure you're not doing a version of this to your own customers? So let's walk through a few scenarios, and I want you to be really completely honest with yourself as we go through these. And scenario one is the email sequence that assumes too much. You all know that I'm a massive believer in email marketing, and it's a really important part, in my opinion, of the direct-to-consumer brand building marketing toolkit. Someone subscribes to your email list, brilliant, they're interested, but what do they actually want from you? You want to make sure that day one of your sequence, or the only thing in your sequence that you're sending them, is a big discount code. Because first of all, I mean, did they actually indicate that they were price sensitive? Or are you projecting that assumption onto them? And second of all, what else are you telling them? Is there anything that you're doing to actually help educate them about your brand, about your products, what makes you different and better, or, to be relevant to wherever they're at in their story and their experiences, that something's motivated them to reach out to you, right? Here's the thing about your customers. Aggressive discounting, or this is for premium brands anyway, aggressive discounting can actually be really off-putting, because it makes your consumers question whether your regular prices were actually genuine in the first place. It makes them wonder if they should just wait for the next sale. And it positions your brand as not premium. If someone's engaging with your educational content, maybe what they actually want is education. Maybe they want more depth, more understanding of why your product is different and better, not just here's 25% off, come and buy from me right now. I think a lot of us, a lot of you make assumptions about what customers need, and assumptions that everyone makes a purchase decision based on price alone. Actually, I don't make that assumption. I haven't made it for a long time, because I know it's just not true. But Tom made assumptions about what I needed. Scenario two is the social proof that isn't relevant. So maybe you've got testimonials on your website, at least I hope you do, great, but who are they from? For example, if you sell premium skincare to women over 40 who value natural ingredients and sophisticated formulations, and you're showing me a product review of, a video of a 23-year-old talking about how affordable your products are, then that's not social proof. That's going to be anti-proof, be off-putting for your ideal customer avatar. Just like Tom showing me results from a random business I know nothing about in a different country in a category I don't even know about. Your testimonials need to be people your ideal customer can see themselves in. Otherwise, you're just going to be creating noise. Scenario three, or potential scenario three, the follow-up that doesn't add value. Let's say someone abandons their cart and you send them into a 3 email sequence. I mean, that's often pretty standard practice, but what are you actually saying in these emails? Are they just literally showing your prospect the products that they left behind in their cart? That's kind of the equivalent of Tom's follow-up, just checking if you saw my last message. Or are your emails addressing why someone might have hesitated? Are they providing some additional information? Are they deepening the relationship? Are they offering to answer questions? I don't think premium customers usually abandon their carts because they forgot. I mean, sure, they might have been interrupted, but they're also likely to abandon because something just isn't, they're just not quite at the decision yet. Something's not quite right for them yet. Maybe they want to do some more research. Maybe they have questions or they need a bit of help understanding what's the right choice. Maybe they're not sure about the shade or the size. Maybe they're waiting until payday. Maybe they found the shipping costs surprising. Who knows? I mean, maybe you could just ask them, right? If your abandoned cart emails are literally just saying, you forgot this, you're treating your customers like they have no agency, like they're the skeleton at the computer, just waiting around for you to remind them again. Scenario four is the generic value proposition, which honestly, this would probably be the most common out of all of these potential scenarios that I see. I want you to look at your homepage right now and seriously pull it up in front of you, either on your laptop or your phone. And what does your hero headline say? Does it say something specific about what makes your brand unique and better? Or could it be on any website in your category? Like premium skincare for radiant skin could be pretty much anyone in my industry, versus high quality products at affordable prices could be anyone probably in any industry. The best product category in Australia could literally be anyone. And Tom's pitch was, we'll get you more customers in a brand new way. However, because there was no specificity in there, it just ends up being generic and meaningless. It could apply to anyone. So is your website doing the same thing? And then possible scenario five is the unclear mechanism, which I think is also a big one. Can someone visiting your website or your social media or reading your emails or wherever they might be interacting with your brand clearly understand what your product actually does and why it's different and better? Clarity is so crucial. Or are you being vague because you think mystery is compelling? Or are you using buzzwords instead of clear explanations? Are you talking about benefits without explaining the mechanism? Transforms your skin? How? Revolutionary formula? I mean, what makes it revolutionary? Results you can see? What results specifically? Just like Tom never told me what service he actually provides, are you being clear about what your product actually does and for whom? Customers that want things that are new, different, and better are thoughtful consumers. They want to understand what they're buying. I mean, mystery might work for impulse purchases, but it's not going to work for considered purchases from discerning customers. So what should Tom have done? Because, enough with the criticism. I always like to be constructive. And so what do I think Tom could have done differently? And more importantly, what do I think you could be doing differently? And I think step one has to be proper research. If Tom had spent even just 15 minutes looking at Indigare's Instagram website, maybe even signed up for an email list, he could have identified some specific real opportunities. As an example that I'm just making up here, I noticed you're not segmenting your post-purchase flow by product category. could have been an outreach comment, and that would have got my attention, something that's specific that shows he actually looked. Or your meta ads are all static images when video content is significantly better engagement rates in the beauty space right now, particularly for demonstrating product application. I'm just making that up, by the way. But, if he had shown in any way, shape, or form that he had looked and analyzed and had some ideas, then that would have been relevant and it's actionable and it's not generic. For your brand, before you send any marketing messages, whether it's an email, an ad, or a DM, ask yourself, have I demonstrated that I actually understand my ideal customer's situation, or am I just broadcasting? Step 2 would be having the relevant case studies. So instead of just showing me some random business in the UK hitting 330K per month, show me a beauty brand that you've worked with. Better yet, show me a beauty brand selling in Australia, dealing with our market conditions, our shipping costs, our customer avatar, our competitive landscape. Don't just show me the numbers. Show me the strategy. Even if it's just high level, walk me through the specific challenges that they had and how you solve them. Give me enough detail that I can see parallels to my own situation. And so for your brand, your testimonials and case studies should be specific enough that your ideal customer can also see themselves in the story. Not this product changed my life. That's, never going to be as powerful as I've struggled with hormonal breakouts since my late 30s, and after trying countless products that either didn't work or irritated my sensitive skin, this was the first thing that actually cleared my skin without causing redness. And for the love of all things holy, do not make up your testimonials or copy them from somewhere else. That is going to do the opposite of establish trust with your potential customers. You've got to remember, specificity builds trust and vagueness builds skepticism. Step 3 is leading with value. I mean, what if instead of asking permission to pitch, Tom had sent me a 3-minute Loom video analyzing one of our recent campaigns? I mean, he could have said something like, hey, I noticed your recent launch campaign. Here are 3 things you did brilliantly. First, your educational content around the hero ingredient was fantastic, clear, credible, compelling. Second, your pre-launch email sequence built genuine anticipation without feeling salesy. Third, your UGC content strategy created really authentic social proof. But now here's one area where I think you left money on the table. Your retargeting strategy seems to end after 14 days, but beauty products typically have a longer consideration window, especially at your price point. If you'd just extended your retargeting window and segmented your creative by where people dropped off in the journey, you likely could have captured another 15 to 20% of those warm prospects. Yes, I just made that up. Yes, I was reading that bit. That was a lot. But, I'm sure you can tell the difference. It's not a pitch outright, it's value and it's insight. If the analysis was good, I'd be asking him if he wanted to chat. So for your brand, are you leading with value or are you leading with an ask? Your first touch point with a customer shouldn't be buy this. It should be here's something useful, interesting, valuable. You want to try and build trust before you ask for the sale, just like you would date someone for a while before asking their hand in marriage. Now, step 4 is super important, and that's to understand the buying journey. Premium brands don't make snap decisions based on DMs and memes. We evaluate partnerships carefully. We want to understand not just what you've done for others, but how you think. What's your strategic philosophy? How do you approach problem solving? Tom's approach tried to shortcut that entire process. Here are some numbers, book a call, let's go. And look, that might work for some desperate businesses. I don't think it's going to work for the sophisticated ones or the ones who really are building towards a specific vision. So for your brand, you definitely want to map out your actual customer buying journey. This is not an exhaustive list, but how long does it typically take from first awareness to purchase? What information do they need at each stage? What objections come up? What questions do they ask? And if you don't know, by the way, you're going to have to go out and do that research and ask your audience. And then make sure that your marketing really supports that journey rather than trying to force people to move faster than is realistic. And if you do this, you will win customers for the long term. rusted on, as I like to say. It's probably an Aussie concept. Versus your customers who experience maybe buyer's remorse or who will just never be brand loyal. And that definitely makes it very difficult to scale a profitable business. Step 5 has to be respect their intelligence and autonomy. And I do think this is pretty crucial. And understanding that innovative brand owners are smart. We've built something from nothing. We've solved problems. We've made difficult decisions. We're not just sitting around for someone to save us. So any marketing that positions your customer as helpless or desperate is immediately going to be pretty off-putting. And so how do you relate this to your brand? Your messaging should empower your customers, not patronize them. You're not rescuing them, you're giving them tools, information, and products that will help them achieve what they want. What is their desired outcome? They're the hero of the story here. You're just the guide. Don't flip that the wrong way around. So what kind of framework, let's try and bring this home with a practical framework that you can use. I always like to have a bit of a step-by-step, as you probably know, if you've listened to more than 2 or 3 of these episodes. Now, before you send any marketing message, whether it's a DM, an email, an ad, or whatever, run it through these 5 questions. And the first question would be, can I demonstrate that I understand this specific audience, not just people who might buy my product category? And if you can't point to something really specific about their situation, their challenges, or their context, your messaging is going to be too generic. Second question, am I leading with insight that they don't already have, or am I just going out with my credentials? Where the best is not insight. Here's something you might not have considered about your current approach is insight. Question 3, have I earned the right to make an offer, or am I asking for something before giving anything? Value first, always. Build trust before you ask for the sale. Question 4, would I respond positively to this if I received it? And you should be brutally honest here. If you delete it, archive it, or ignore it, why would your customer respond any differently? And question 5, does this communication respect their intelligence and autonomy, or does it assume that they're desperate? My bet is your customers are discerning, and I think we all need to treat them accordingly. Look, I don't want to be too harsh on Tom. He's probably getting a conversion rate that makes this approach worthwhile for him. I mean, if you send thousands of DMs and you get maybe 10 responses and close 1 or 2 clients, maybe that's a viable business model. But here's the thing, the brands falling for this aren't going to be the unique and innovative brands building something remarkable. They're going to be the desperate ones or the ignorant ones or the ones that just don't know any better. Certainly, there are plenty of fabulous brands that fall into that latter because they're the creative makers. They're not they don't have knowledge or experience in digital marketing, so they literally don't know any better. And they see these big numbers and don't ask it any hard questions. They just don't know what questions to ask. Now, if you're listening to this podcast, I really am hoping that you're not building that kind of business and that you are building something truly unique, something with genuine value, something that really does solve some real problems for people in ways that matter. And if that is what you are out to do, and what you are doing with your business, don't market like Tom, and definitely don't partner with people who market like Tom. Your customers are going to be sophisticated and they will smell generic a mile away. And look, I think we're all genuinely wanting authentic connection and, understanding, and we want to partner with brands that actually get us. My goodness, half the time when you scroll on social media these days, everything just looks the same and just doesn't resonate or have any kind of emotional response. I think every touch point matters. Every message either builds trust or erodes it. Every email, every ad, every social post is either going to demonstrate that you understand your customer or broadcast that you don't. Be better than the DM bros. I think your brand deserves it and your customers certainly deserve it. And if you've been accidentally doing any of the things that we talked about today, and I think we all have at some stage in our business owning career, that's okay. Awareness is the first step. Now you can fix it. Now, I would honestly love to hear your thoughts on this topic too. I'm actually going to invite you to hit me up in my DMs at Kath Langman. And don't forget, my team and I are here to help if you know that you do need a better way with your marketing. Now, next week, we're going to change course. We're going to dive back into what's happening with Meta right now because the platform is still going through some pretty massive and somewhat destabilizing changes. And I know that a lot of you are really struggling with it. So that episode's also going to be a good one. But until then, I want to invite you, go and audit your marketing, be ruthless, be honest, and really aim to build something worth talking about. Bye for now.